Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just a visitor. There are some people down here that were down with. Well, there's some people down here now at the Okay. She's kind of changing her opinion. Oh, she is.
Good morning. So that's just right. So it's all that stuff. So
Good morning. We're going to begin with a short sit, just right here. Others will arrive, and you just notice that. So, maybe a bit of a routine that you have on Wednesday mornings or every morning. As we have arrived here, just noticing sensations of the body now. Perhaps you've identified a spot or two where the favorites to hold stress and activation. Maybe just bring some awareness to those areas. As we've been practicing, sometimes it's difficult to change something that we're not aware of. So we've been practicing in a body sense, just being aware of the body. And with awareness, maybe there can be a softening. And as we pause, we may notice a number of things. Even the mind just kind of like, okay, where am I going to go? What's happening? Just some awareness of the mind. Its desire to seek input. and allowing it. It's nothing that we need to particularly judge. Again, we can use some of the senses to provide an anchor for the mind. It may be sound, it may be opening your eyes and gazing to the floor or an object. It may be awareness of breath, sensations. Practicing this allowing. The mind will time travel. At some point we'll recognize this, and the allowing provides maybe just some kindness, some acknowledgement that this is what the mind does. There may be a few moments that you're pretty attentive to the present moment. And maybe a lot of things kind of internally or externally visit you, and just allowing that as well. Being with kindness. And perhaps at some point maybe directing. Back to maybe sensations of the breath. Noticing sensations on the inhale. And exhale. And practicing being with. And assistance allowing everything perhaps belongs. Maybe we drop the with and just practice being. We may be able to have some influence on things external to ourselves. And at some point, we run into those things that we cannot control. Then it becomes an internal practice. Being with the pleasant or unpleasant, neutral. We're learning that we can create events in our own internals. In the stillness. Practice or a great experiment is if I can notice self, the mind, body, feelings. Being mindful, one or a couple of these may allow a number of things to occur. It's just that spirit of allowing and softening. I'm here in class 7. Noticings, learnings, observations.
I'll just say thank you for starting class. I came in clearly very charged from my daughter. And I find that I've done enough meditation now that I can actually get to that calm spot, whereas I think in the beginning I would struggle. So I think I'm noticing improvement, progress.
Thank you for giving yourself some time.
What I appreciate is how you laid out the groundwork of MBSR, and yet in the midst of all that, just use those as pointers and allowed us to have our own experience with it instead of us kind of needing. Sometimes the facilitators have a tendency to kind of manipulate that, and it's not meant to be controlling, but it can nudge us as opposed to just having that pointer. And the handouts, the rain and the stop, and the one by Dr. Demmer, all of those are just beautiful and powerful. And yet we have our own, we're allowed the opportunity of our own relationship with that now that it speaks to us. And I really appreciate that you said allow. That resonates so much more naturally than accept, which is usually the other alternative. And thank you. It's just making such a huge difference.
You're welcome. And I'm practicing too. And like you, in my own kind of journey of recovery, trying to figure out which words work for me, which modality, and this is a modality that's kind of been practiced, and so it's not all certainly about me.
Further along on this journey, so it helps to have someone follow. And I still I had listened to some beautiful music on the way up, and I had some thoughts that traffic, and I had a thought that I would tell my kids back when I was teaching that they had to not, they didn't need to get frustrated that their hands needed help because their hands didn't understand what they were supposed to do. So you had to be kind to your hands. If you were kind to whatever animal they liked and just give instructions. And I felt like, oh, that's the first time I thought of it, that's kind of like being kind to wherever you are, yourself is talking to your other self. To come back to a place where you can have instruction, kind instruction, come back. And that was always helpful for them told what to do instead of what not to do. And that was, somebody almost rear-ended me right down here, but he was, you know, he slammed on his brakes and he went over, and I just felt kind of, instead of angry, I felt kind of grateful. I just gave him a wave, like, wow, thank you for not starting to swerve. That was so awesome. So I was having all these, you know, listening to music popped up that was from my past that was very important. Thoughts on the drive. And I'm being kind of depressed the day after the retreat, because I think it was just emotionally kind of exhausting. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this. And today, feeling like, oh, okay, yeah, I think that's all. All the thoughts.
A couple of thoughts while you're talking, and one is that I appreciate like the hand and some inviting people on how to be open to instruction or kindness to themselves and their hand. I remember water skiing, beginning to water ski, and you got people on the boat and they're looking at you, you know, and everybody around. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm going to get this. You know, I got a story in my head. I'm fairly athletic. I can get this. And I just kept on falling. And the skis would fall off. And then I couldn't get them on. I mean, it was like a wrestling match. Yeah. And I couldn't keep them up. And I was working so hard to get it right or to have it. And then at some point, there was that transition, like, you know, you just practice. And as you're getting practice, you can kind of get back. And it's like, oh, man, I don't have to fight the skis or the water. You know, it can be pretty gentle and pretty malleable. And I just make slight movements. And then they stay up. I don't have to really wrestle with it. So there's a real body sense to like, oh, my.
You just pop up.
Yeah.
Just like they say. Just pop up.
Yeah, just you know, just allow just the boat to pull you up. You don't have to wrestle with it. So I thought of that while we were talking.
I got to tell a story.
Yeah.
I somebody had offered my sister and me to go water skiing. And they went on, and I managed to get out. That was cool. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I have my glasses on. And then, of course, I fell. And the first thing to do is hold on. I had my glasses on. I was just holding on and being pulled. So finally I lost my grip. But apparently they had been telling me, bend your knees, you know, let go. But I had my glasses on, so I could just look around at the trees and kind of enjoy it. And I think that's really interesting. And sometimes when you get rid of the noise, you can just kind of look at the trees, you know. Sometimes you're going to get yanked around, but sometimes you're going to kind of get kind of cool, you know. Yeah.
Is that the Yogi Berra quote, I think, at some point in the class where, you know, it's amazing what you can see when you just look around. In the retreat, noticing some, feelings, thoughts after the retreat.
I was really tired. I didn't do anything. I mean, I was sitting, I walked really slowly. So, I did have a lesson last Wednesday. I was in a class because I was
putting out fires, things were happening for my kids. So it's, and then I got the email from you, and I was reading through, and I'm like, why didn't I go? This just totally applies, you know, and maybe I got fire down to a smolder, but, you know, it would have been better for me and better for those around me if I had been in class. And I mentioned that to you at the end. But I said, well, at least I came away, I learned something from that.
I just keep coming back to the fact that this is a practice. And you can always begin again. And love the idea that you can just begin again. Doesn't matter if you did it yesterday or you did it a week ago. Always come back and just begin again. And it feels so good. It's just, you know, one of those delightful things in life that we get to do, and it's just us. Yeah, every time at the retreat.
Well, it's very forgiving, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Which is what we should be.
if you allow yourself to get to the point where you know, some days it's a good day and you go right there. Some days it's a bit of a struggle, but you know, you can even at that, you just always begin again. I love that. It feels good.
When we shared at the end of the day, the retreat, I was surprised to hear that others actually enjoyed that frantic walk because I was frantic with it. And when I pondered that, I thought, wow, I go into most everything in life so seriously, always. And so, you know, oh my gosh, oh, I don't want to hurt this person or blah, blah, blah. And I thought, what a great experience this has been because I can relax and just have an attitude. This could be fun instead of so serious. And begin again. I love that movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Mark Russell and the music and all of it is meaningful and fun. And so thank you for everybody that has their own experience and wanting to share it because it gave me a new insight to myself and how I could change that.
Oh, and I feel younger.
I really did. I felt so, I mean, I know like for other people, they felt like it was hard. I don't know if it was just my negative mindset coming in, but afterwards, I mean, I was driving away and literally had to leave right away because of the kids. But I was driving thinking, I just feel so refreshed, like renewed, rejuvenated. I was trying to put it into words, and Paige was asking me over text afterwards, like, how was it? And I said, the only way I could really describe it was, for me, it was like a massage for the mind and soul. Like, you know, after a massage, a really good massage, you just feel like you're tired because it was so good, but you're just like relaxed. And I felt all of that feeling, but, you know, nobody touched me. It's just all in my mind. I don't know, it felt really, really good.
Well, that was one of my big takeaways. So it's like, you know, just remember you're younger when you meditate. What kind of meditation do you're younger?
Well, I think there's been an invitation that I heard, you know, to be childlike. Oh, what's that mean? Maybe it's, you know, childlike is maybe more present, or, you know, just young.
They're not judgmental.
just act on whatever's happening at the time.
And so, as I think, Peggy, as you've been doing some of that with your grandkids, or what I've heard, I'm sure other people have. It's like, wow, at some point we kind of join in that. For me, there's a little bit, there's a lot of joining, but there's a little bit all this kind of another record playing of, hope they don't hurt themselves, something like that, so.
I'm reading a book about, I forgot the name of the author, but he's an American, and he is the one who came up with this idea of that each person has three types of personalities affected in us. We have the child, we have the adult, and we have the parent. So it's very interesting because then it gives like exercises after a lot of, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, reflecting on the name. And he gives examples of something said or a reaction, and he will ask, what do you think, is this the child reaction or the parents? And the child can be either an adaptive child who can be really submissive, but it has the risk of being really also too rebellious, or he can be a much kind of happy child that expresses himself and so forth. So I don't want to know that. Next time I will bring the title of the book, and it's very interesting to discover in us those three types of how we take from our parents and how we keep the child with us and what type of adult we become. Very interesting. But I'm so sorry I didn't attend the retreat, so next year.
Yeah. There'll be opportunities for everyone twice a year, typically. I mean, we have, is it March? Admittedly, I'm not the best about kind of sending invitations. So just know.
Sometime in March.
Yeah. So if that's of interest, yeah. Yeah.
What's that?
So there's no fee or charge for you to come do the retreat, just so you know, as participants or past participants. So yeah, March, October. So. Yeah, I missed you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was sick. Sick. Yeah, it was worse. I don't think it's the invitation. That's me.
The whole room.
I hope not. Yeah, but it's funny because yesterday my husband had three tantrums. That's okay. And I was happy because I was looking at it with the distance and not reacting at all, and taking it easy and acknowledging my flaws and suggesting to him that maybe we should work on how to accept our flaws rather than reacting to them. And he accepted it, so it was cool. I kind of reached that level of maturity maybe to look at myself, with a very critical eye and acknowledge it with no shame, and asking him just to deal with it.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
When I went about to sleep, I thought, I hope you did better more promotion. I don't mean a footnote. I'm like, okay.
You feel fine now.
The story in my head is that the child will invite me to be child too, so they don't have to own anything. And then that happens in the adult relationship too. Their child shows up and they want me to parent.
Yeah.
And like, well, I'll be with you, but I don't know if this is healthy to parent.
Yeah, I don't want to bear it. I will say that. I'm not a fan of the reality, so I don't
But it's
want to bear it.
particularly hard when the adult in me triggers the child in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not the cause, but I was the trigger. So,
Right. And I've experienced that, been allowed like you to step back, and I realized that with my children, if I overreacted, like said something that hurt their feelings in the midst of whatever behavior they were doing to elicit that, I would feel like I just lost the opportunity to correct that, and now I need to apologize. But I'm not willing to do that with my husband because he is not a child. And I realized that when he has the tantrum, it's like, okay, like he tends to do that every once in a while. I will not try to engage in that and kind of own myself. And I think that will help in the long run.
So back to this little premise, we saw this on a slide a long time ago. With awareness, we might see different options or choices. I'm hearing different options and choices. I remember the wrestling story you talked about. And when somebody missed you from a rear end, there was it just sounded like a different reaction than you knew I would have. So it's just not that I think that we're looking for a specific outcome. I don't know if that's what the practice is about. It's about awareness. I think we get caught up in the story about how I want to be or how it should be. I want to go back to a little bit of equanimity. And so,
That might not happen next time, but
right.
in the past.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
So I'm going to stand up and grab some things real quick. And then, just a little bit more exercise here.
It's so
It was
I'm
so
addicted.
good. I was just like this.
I've been listening to it.
I was just I was like, thank you. Yeah, I was like, yeah, so you need it.
I thought it went really well with the class.
Yeah, it was really well. I was curious if you said it. Oh,
Again, the really knowledgeable so MBSR class invites us to kind of think about
That's what I think of my glasses.
try to turn some lights on too.
I'll be there.
Maybe that's all right.
There we go. Oops, no. Yeah. That's that balance.
Too much.
Overhead lights are kind of painful.
Well, especially you've been in the room.
True. True.
So
Yeah.
spending a few moments. We're not going to share these in class or turn them in. This is just for you. But the idea is just being aware of kind of our pattern and what is nourishing, maybe what is depleting a little bit. Also, I think that in our lifetime, maybe in the history of our species, there's a lot that's changed. Our water, our food, technology, the chemical introduction of just chemicals to our lives. So we're just trying to be aware of that. So maybe we just spend just maybe 4 or 5 minutes, just kind of just jotting down some of these things, just to a practice and just being aware of what's happening. So and what kind of inputs is your mind and body experiencing? Relational inputs as well.
I mean, times it's just from the day on, or
Just a typical, maybe.
oh, a typical.
Yeah, just kind of maybe.
Okay.
It might be a typical kind of normal day.
Yeah, I didn't do that one this month.
Oh yeah, yeah, got another one too. Thanks.
So we're just putting down our daily schedule website stuff.
Well, that might prompt the idea of what are the inputs. I think you can just kind of think your daily schedule. You maybe not need to even write it down. Yeah.
This is good.
And we just write what we're doing at this time.
Yes, and the idea is like what's ultimately this category is most important. Just where's our body experiencing? What is our mind experiencing? What inputs do we allow, invite throughout the day? The schedule might help kind of like, oh yeah, no, then I do that, and then this happens, and that type of thing. For instance, an alarm goes off. What does that sound like? That's the first input maybe of the day, right? This piece of paper has lines, but just like the 9 dots, you can go outside the lines and do what you need to do. Okay. You're working. What are you noticing filling this out?
Oh, a lot of negativity.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
I know.
That's something to work on.
I need to change how I start my day. Waking up and that process of the alarm and immediately thinking about the kids and the dogs and going into those activities rather than, and I was listening to it on that podcast. I need to change up how I start that day. Giving something to just myself personally, whether it's a 5-minute or 10-minute meditation, movement, something positive.
I think part of mine is I'm in a completely different place than mainly with being, Kath and I talked about this, I am newly retired and I've never been on my own. I came from a family of 7. I've always had like tons of family around, and all of a sudden to be widowed and now retired. But when I'm looking at this, I do feel a lot of peace and I feel a lot of gratitude. That I'm just able to do. I'm very, even in my grief, I'm very comfortable right now. But I do start my day before I ever, and for years I've already been, I think this class has made me realize that, whether you call it mindful or meditation, I think I've already been doing this for years. I mean, the way I swim, I go through the alphabet and I think of anybody that starts with that letter that I know. And I pray for them the whole time. So I don't even realize I'm swimming. And when I'm walking, I've always kind of taken in nature and stuff. So, but listening to that one podcast, and I incorporated it into my morning now. When I wake up, I think of, I go through the C through the L, compassion, dignity, and I just focus on those things and what I want for the day. And compassion, dignity, equanimity, forgiveness, gratitude, humility, integrity, justice, kindness, and love. And so just focusing just on that when I start my morning, it's kind of like the day of silence that we had. I just had such like peaceful feeling after that. But starting my morning like that, I just love. But I'm at like a completely different place. I have the time where I go to yoga classes every day. I go for my walks. I go for my swims. I mean, I get together with people that I love, and so how can I not be grateful for all that? You know, I mean, not that there's not stuff going on in my life and stuff with the kids and stuff in this class. What has really helped me is I had such trouble sleeping at night, partly because of my grief. And, you know, anytime your kids are having a hard time with anything, you feel their pain and everything. But it's helped me through the breathing techniques and through the mindful, like in the middle of the night, I'll wake up and I'll notice that my hands are clenched, you know, so like at 3 o'clock in the morning, I take myself and I think, okay, what am I doing? And I'll fall back to sleep. So I think it's been very helpful that way. But not that I haven't been at different points in my life, you know, when you have a house full of kids and people, and when everyone comes home, it's like, wow, this is, you know, it kind of takes it back. But usually my days are, I have a lot to be grateful for. So I'm in a good situation.
You're in a good situation to recognize you.
Yeah.
There are tons of people.
Yeah.
It's a, you know, but even in how I grieve my husband, I think of 2 things all the time when I'm missing him. I'm so grateful that I had him because he was like amazing. And he's not suffering anymore. And those are the 2 things that I hold on to with that. That just keeps me going. Okay. You know, thank God, you know, Bill, I had you hope, you know, and you're not suffering. So. It's a great place to be. It is. It is. Yes.
And when the alarm goes off, mine is a very, very delightful alarm.
I can only imagine.
That's not my alarm. I chose one that's very fun. And so it's like, well, it's really nice and warm in here. You know, I can pick it up or I don't, you know, because you can just listen to it. It's kind of like, it's not music, but it's very nice. And I do some mindful movement, you know, kind of stretch it out. And if I want to, I can roll over. It's really great. And do you have anything today? No? Or yeah? Better get up now. You know, but it's all very, it's gentle. It's not right in my face. So,
Because not in this situation yet, but my alarm is one of my 2 Springer Spaniels comes to the door. So it's usually like 5:05. So, and I know, I'm like, oh, where's the meditation in here? What I think I kind of do, because my dogs wouldn't let me meditate because we have pills to take, drink, and then we have outside, and you know, there's a rhythm. But I always I make a cup of coffee and I sit on the couch, I get on either side of me, and we sit in the dark, And so I choose to think, and they love me. They're the only really two things who really love me. And so I am just so, I'm like, it's just so I kind of, I mean, there's like you, I'm like, oh, here we go, here comes the day, oh gosh. But I kind of choose to think that it's so nice. I'll start my morning with my billboards. Yeah. One of those crazy dog people. Really crazy dog, old person. So, yeah.
Our dog awakens us when he's 15 years of age. And we thought we were going to have to put him down 2 months ago. We've had him 12 years. He's a Shih Tzu, full of energy. Everybody says your dog's just like you. But he started getting us up. He's totally blind now. And he started getting us up at 3, 4, and 5 a.m. about 3 months ago. And I learned something. My husband had to have major surgery in August, and I ignored the dog, and I acted, sorry God, I acted like I didn't hear him when he started barking. My husband would get up with him, didn't you hear him? What are you saying? So I let him out. The best thing about the dog is we had him sheared. We thought we were going to have to put him down. And because he was so hyper, you couldn't touch him. He was totally blind. He was angry. You just couldn't pet him anymore. And so my husband took him in about 3 weeks ago to get him sheared. He had about 4 inches of fur, little bitty dog with it. But he was filled with fleas. How? I don't know. Oh. My husband blames the neighbor cats. But anyway, but he's been better. It's like he's back from being 100 to 50 human. They said he's 150 in human years. But he's like, he's gained energy, and now he's really happy. So this morning, I got up at 1 with him. We learned to give him a sedative from the vet, which calms him down and lets him sleep at least till 3 or 4. But I've accepted that he is going to get us up early, not as early, but I'm grateful we still have him, and he has renewed energy. And the funniest thing, I belong to a lot of psychology clubs, and maybe you would know, Scott, this dog is real attached to me. He's attached to my husband, but I'm mama, and Paul said, well, you know, you spoil him, but that's okay. When I come back, when I'm gone, he knows within 5 minutes when I'm coming, and he starts barking and heads to the front door. Now, how they do that, I will never know. But I just think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for him, and we've gotten used to. I was up at 1 this morning because we didn't get up early yesterday. We're learning a sedative every day, and then he'll sleep till 5. Anyway, but he's our alarm.
Yeah.
And we're grateful we still have it. So we're going to have to put him down.
I know that my pattern with my phone and technology, but it's interesting in writing it. It just seemed to be a little bit of a shift. Noticing that, I'm like, oh, okay, different kind of knowing. So I'd be interested to see how that plays off. Also, I've been spending a lot of time in nature lately, and so that greeted me as like, when is that showing up in my life? Because I don't think I've ever really thought of it in that term, but sometimes because I think I've been with it, and I'm like, oh, actually, I don't know how often that shows up. So that was interesting.
One of the things I noticed in doing this, and it's been an increasing awareness for me for the last couple of weeks, is how depleting time on my phone is. Every time that I notice that I'm reading the news on my phone, or I'm scrolling through looking for a bit of information that I don't really need, I end up feeling like that time was wasted. I feel more anxious about what I've read in the news or whatever. And coming off of almost 5 days of camping, where we had our phones turned off in the car instead of checking for emergency texts that might have come from the like just checking in, make sure family's okay. We didn't read any news, and it was wonderful. Like, we read books and talked, and so that was all good. And then last night we went to a presentation at my daughter's school by the prosecutor for Marin County Prosecutor's Office called CyberSafe, and it was about technology and how to keep our kids safe and what we're seeing in schools in the area. And it was just this huge, like, kind of light bulb where after that experience of not being on our phones and just hearing her say, about modeling behavior, like, if this thing is the most important thing that's so valued to us that we spend 2 hours a day with it or on it, what message is that giving? So I feel like all of these like messages and this awareness is gonna make a difference for me and kind of ease the transition to more time spent doing the things that are nourishing and less time reading the news and doing things that are depleting.
So I got this message that said I was 2 hours less in October than I was like a year ago or something. And I'm going, well, how about that? Instead of, because it could be the other way, oh, gee, what am I missing? Whatever. It was like, wow, that's great. I'm not doing it. Turning it off is, and the news, I mean, you can just drive yourself crazy.
It's just a rabbit hole when you get deeper.
So it's like having to know what's going on without getting sucked into it or to read it, to be informed with a bit of distance and purpose. Like, well, it is hard, but maybe that's a way to think about it.
There's someone talk about their relationship with food, and so they put a sign up on the refrigerator that said, "It's not in here."
I see.
And I'm thinking now, I haven't put this together, but putting like,
Yeah, on your phone.
on the phone, it's not in here.
Whatever it is.
I don't know if anybody reads Brene Brown. She's fabulous, but I follow her on social media, and she had a post on Sunday that said, I picked up my phone to Instacart, but accidentally hit Instagram. 2 hours later, I have no groceries for Sunday prep, but I know where Rihanna bought her earrings, and I have pinned 22 cute pictures of pumpkins. Because you get in that rabbit hole and you get sucked in. And these things that really are inconsequential, and all of a sudden it's like,
well, think about it, kids. I mean, they really have no other time than that, and we can at least have some reference of life before phones, and the infiltration, and then so we have some perspective.
It's hard about teenagers not wanting to get their driver's license the way that we all did. And it's because they think they're interacting because they're interacting on it, but they're not actually interacting at all, right? Or they won't go out. They don't leave their house because they're texting group chat. I mean, it's just,
they feel like they're connected even though they're not.
really
I pick my kids up from school and I'll be, how was your day? Tell me about it. Mom, I just want to get my phone.
So, how am I going to be in a relationship that with my kids or my spouse or whomever, and myself? So, noticing that. Brene Brown does just a great job, I think, talking about the common humanity, just her own way she can observe and describe her own behavior. So I think that that's a part of kindness is that, you know, when we do that with our mind or anything, it was like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that or think that because of this or whatever, because my mind does what it does or because I've had this experience. We'll talk about our article by Kristen Neff talking about how do we do kindness or compassion. And it is being aware, mindful of like, I'm noticing. I would summarize this in a word, and we'll just be curious about that. Offering the common humanity and offering a little bit of kindness to self. So we'll read about that this week. But it's a practice.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One thing I just have to say it so that I hear myself. As I'm going through here, what I think makes me happy does not make me happy. It's the removal from things that I think makes me happy, but that's not where I'm happiest. I'm happiest when I start my day with the dogs. I work at a school from 8 to 11. Kindergartners, happy. When I'm swimming, fully present. Back walking the dogs. But the things that make me, what I think is making me happy, sitting in my car, checking my phone, having a glass of wine by myself. I'm removed rather than being fully present. So that was a great lesson too. Yeah.
I'm going to drop a thought that, we do need to have healthy boundaries and understand what is, I use the word, I think, nourishing and what isn't. And I want a little invitation is that I think even in the unpleasant or the things that aren't happening, if we're attentive and we're mindful, it might be connecting maybe just with ourselves, but that can be nourishing. So flipping the script. I'm flipping the script in that, like, we think like, well, I need to avoid this, or I don't need to do this, or this is not good for me. I want to separate that. And I think that there is some place for that. Does that part make sense? And there's some times where, perhaps as long as we're mindful or aware, we can still be nourished in the midst of unpleasant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I found that if that's for me, that when I reach that point when I'm aware that this is no longer an appropriate distraction, that it no longer serves, it lifts.
Yeah.
I don't have to make it or force it or resist it. It's gone. Oh, okay. Yay. Free of that.
Well, I read something and it's like you can be going through a harm. I was watching it was on YouTube. It was about meditation, the Google guy, and he was talking about how Google has introduced meditation, and he said something about you can go through a harmful time, but you don't have to do harmful things. Like you can be going through the time that you can be present in the time, but you don't have to disconnect. You don't have to find ways to short circuit that. And I think we do that with our phones, and we do that with, we think we're taking care of ourselves. I don't think we're really taking care of ourselves. We're harming ourselves.
I'd like to say something. It's going to be hard, but. So my son gets suicidal sometimes. And he has bipolar disorder. And this is helping. And I have been working on trusting him to do what he said he would do, which is to contact us, to let us know, and and my other son has celiac disease, and to appreciate the good times that I've spent them, and to realize that I don't have control sometimes, and to let that be part of me. And the other thing is that I will still be here whatever happens for a moment. But it isn't, I spent a good bit of time thinking this is going to kill me. And I've realized that I don't have to go there. This is helping that process. So that's pretty major. That I could go to this place that's not that voice. I keep practicing it. And there is a place that's not that voice. And trusting that, trusting them to lead their own lives. There's, I can't take that on. It's not me. It's not helpful. So it's very helpful. No matter what I say, it's kind of like flip sometimes, not silly. But at the core of it is this kind of transformative practice where I pay attention to what I'm listening to or experiencing. And it's draining because it's work to come back. And that's, I think, why it was so tiring to spend the whole day. But it's good work. So that's the real deal.
That's the real deal.
I do lunch ministry, which is nourishing for me. And I started setting boundaries about 5 years ago, saying to my friends or those who might be interested in connecting, this is not about you moaning to me. I'm a former counselor, but it's about I'll give you support for the gifts that are going on with you. And then you tell me what you're doing to succeed in life. So it wasn't a moan thing. So it's been nourishing for me because before that, I would listen to it. I'd walk down the street and I ask people how they were. My husband's the same way. People would start moaning. But yesterday, I was to have lunch ministry with my good friend who has dementia. We've been friends for 40 years. We've sung together in women's barbershop years ago. We've been really good friends. And we still play bridge together. And she's quite sharp on bridge, but not on conversation. She can't remember what you talked about 15 minutes ago. But I've stayed involved because I love her. We've been good friends, and I'm not afraid of that. But she didn't show up, but her husband did. He said, my wife is sick. And he said, I want to have lunch with you. And the odd thing was, I don't usually have lunch with the husbands of my women friends, but I knew 2 weeks ago, it's like the universe told me, call him Jack. Jack is really hurting. It made me aware. So yesterday, he vented for about an hour and a half about his loss. And she's getting worse, and what's he going to do? And he was real nice to me because we've all been good friends for 40 years. And so I listened because I needed to do that. It wasn't about me. I needed to be supportive of him because the universe had alerted me 2 weeks ago that he's going through hell right now. And it's going to get worse. So I tried to be very supportive and listen. And then I left, and then when I went home and processed that last night, then I felt depleted, and my anxiety went to, and I had shared with him, well, you have resources out there. Who are you talking to? Who are your friends? You've got to stay involved. You need to stay healthy. So tell me who you have. And he had other resources. And then I really don't want to, my thinking is, meet with him again. I don't want him to become dependent upon me. And we will still play bridge together, the four of us. And last night took me hours to process all that and for how much I'd be involved. And then it was sort of both positive and negative as I was trying to sort that through. I love him as a friend, but I don't want to get further involved with him because he was saying he liked my energy and that I had enthusiasm and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to pursue that road because that could be trouble. But I was glad that I was able to sit with him and be there for him, even though that was not what I expected. So sort of mixed feelings as I tried to sleep last night.
Sure.
But my clarity for me is not, I don't want to repeat this with him.
So that's the both in the end we're dealing with. So we maybe need to make some decisions. And in the midst of, somebody sent me a little, it's a GIF, I don't know what it is, but it's a person who was absorbing a lot of energy from everybody else. And then he got really heavy because there was just so much energy. And then he opened the door and the dog saw him and the energy was depleted. And so in the midst of some energy exchange, which we even do in this group. So we can practice even as we're in the circle of chairs is a practice, is just checking in with self as we're noticing, as we're listening to stories. Yeah. So we're gonna go practice. That's okay. Probably just hand out some stuff at the end of actually, I'm going to go do that right now, and then we're going to finish just kind of with some practices. So let me hand out some invitations for this next week. Here's some of the poetry from last from silent retreat.
Yeah.
The poetry of the retreat was just real excellent. It's just so good.
So this week's invitations are to practice. Continuing practice. So this is the 7th week. Back to the point made earlier. This is just my So who knows what's happened this last 6 weeks, right? And correct. So it is continue with your practices, but just kind of making it your own. So what makes sense for you to practice? Again, maybe looking at 45 minutes a day, and maybe it just is not a sitting meditation for 45 minutes. Perhaps we can bring. You want to wake up, do some mindful movement for 10 minutes. Maybe or longer, and then sit or do some walking meditation. So just kind of accumulate up to 45 minutes, but just do what makes sense for you. Yeah. So as we get together next week, which is our last class, but really the beginning of your own practice, we're experimenting with what your own practice might look like this week. And so again, it's back to the, it's not unusual, kind of part of common humanity is like time, place, and partner, right? And so we're still investigating and being curious what that looks like. And tomorrow is a new day. This week is a new week. Class 8, we'll practice and we'll gather, and that's the time to maybe. I want to hear this podcast. I want to hear some, the author. So there's maybe some things that people mention, or some favorites, or some things that may be support for the group. That's the time to kind of bring that stuff in. I will bring some of that stuff in too. Mine's going to be pretty broad, but
A couple of questions.
Yeah.
As you talk about partner, which I don't really understand what that is, and then you talk about intention. And is that just intention? Why am I doing this meditation, or what is meant by intention?
Yeah, and you guys can support that as well. So the partner is like, sometimes I'll have just an app that just helps me keep time with things.
Oh,
Yeah, and so that could be a partner. Sally and Elena and I get together, often during the week and just practice, in a group. That's a partnership. And it could be a whole range of things, but just something that might be supportive to, it's like, well, if I'm not comfortable in a sitting position, or I need a mat, or what are some things that maybe are just kind of tangible that are needed to support practice.
okay. And then the intention.
The intention.
Well, that means something different to different people, but
Yeah.
I guess.
And I'm not sure even the context that I bring it up. But it's this, when we were practicing, let's bring this intention of paying attention. For me, also a little different is intention is like, I'm going to intend to this, but I don't know what the outcomes are going to be. The intention's here, but who knows what's going to happen. Yeah. And so I come from, like it's a goal, it's an accomplishment, it's something to climb. There is that place for that, but I need to be kind of unlearning that. Because it sets me up for expectation, which is the birthplace of suffering. So it's wordsmithing it maybe a little bit. Is that helpful?
Yeah. And, or could it, maybe, like I started this with a vision of the rose window. I have to go look at it. That's an intention as well to how you start. I'm going to intend to start with this visualization.
Yeah.
So I think just to think about different things.
I'd like to jump in on your intention, because the universe has been working with me the last 6 months. My intention is I organize my day, but I've been learning. I won't bore you with it, but I've had 6 changes in the last 6 months, including changing church, where I was bad-mouthed for playing things, and other things that have occurred, my husband having back surgery. But the universe is telling me, in your day, be open to change. That's really, I've been working on that a lot this last year.
So that's your intention.
Unexpected will occur. And God and the universe is really helping me with that.
So my intention is to invite us into practice, and I think we have the formal practice and the informal practice. So I'm going to ring the bell here. We kind of got a pattern on the bells. And I might ring them at the end. But we're going to do a lot of different practices, and I don't know if we kind of need the bell to remember to do something. So as we get up, just notice our patterns and like that, and how we're moving around. We'll probably go in and do some mindful movement, and maybe a sitting practice. So, but let's just pause right now. And then pausing, noticing. So we'll now go into the other room and prepare for some mindful movement. Yeah, just throw them up over there on the piano somewhere. But,
It's very good. Very well.
That's what we're saying, the intention.
Yeah.
So there are bathrooms down. You're right, I've done that, but then somebody else might. So
Turn your to your right.
Yeah.
Another right.
I'm thinking this, so that
Okay.
other. I want to know it's special. That's what I'm going to do. And they had a person look just like mine. Oh, there's. I didn't know my flowers. So I can believe that. I just Googled. Yes. Never say that. Well, for good shoes, maybe, but for fun, not.
Can I share something with you about shoes? That I won't tell you what I hate, but I have to wear good shoes. I just have to. I've had surgery in my left foot over the past. And anyway, and I got these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful shoes about a week ago that made my feet feel so good. They're a tennis shoe, but it's a walking tennis shoe. And we do a devotion at dinner time, and I was thanking God yesterday for my family and my tennis shoes.
I get that. I have a friend. Well, you know, maybe you don't care because of the medication, but she's had an ankle that she's had surgery on.
And with the Episcopal pastor's wife.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, she's been through business.
Yeah, I've had
They look like black athletics. They have a really big soul and everything is just is perfect for her. And she's really pleased with that. So it would be great when we can find those things.
Yes. I totally agree. The little joys of life. That's what I'm learning with the other stuff. There's a little joy that comes along in everything.
I really agree. I
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. We were both there. We both share, chat with one another. We're eating opposite sides of it.
I was one of the first people in there, and he's never really done the rights until she was like, you remember?
What is up? Right out there. Oh, those old things, Richard Simmons. Oh my God. Yeah, right.
Sally, oh my word.
I know. I'm aging. You know, I'm showing my age.
Yeah, well, we went back further. We were right together.
Oh, no, no, no. My sisters were older than I. I'm home on Friday night.
Did you take it in with you?
No.
I've done that. My mom. Okay.
And when we're ready, maybe we've been sitting, so we'll just start in a standing position. In mountain. Checking in on sensations of the body. And perhaps on that exhale, we just allow a little softening. And we'll begin with the right arm out in front of us and up towards the sky. And back around. Backstroke, left arm up towards the sky. Another breath, perhaps. Back around on an exhale. So just a little backstroke at your own pace where it makes sense. Maybe experimenting with pace. And just noticing the sensations of the body and movement. And when it makes sense, just pausing the mountain. Maybe bringing the hands to our back, interlocking the fingers if you're able, just kind of holding your hands in, slowly bringing the hands towards the floor. Noticing sensations of the chest. And maybe allowing the hands to come up to the lower back and moving off to the left side, still kind of holding one another. So we're going to allow our left ear and left shoulder to come towards one another. Just pausing for a breath cycle at least. Just noticing sensations of stretching on the right side. And on an in-breath, head comes up. And let's bring our hands over to our right hip. And right ear, right shoulder. Noticing sensations on our left side. Breath, I'd come back up. And just releasing the arms. Maybe they just kind of sway a little bit back and forth. And returning to mountain. Maybe opening the eyes, just gazing towards the floor. And we're just going to gaze to our right. Just moving your eyes to the right, gazing to the right. And then now back to center. And gazing to your left. Now back to center. Gazing up. Back to central or neutral. And gazing down. And back to center. And pausing in the mountain. Balancing a little bit on our left foot, slight bend to the left knee, arms off into a T, and bringing maybe the bottom of the right foot to the left ankle. Toes can be on the floor. Makes sense for your body. We can go ahead and pick up, bend that right knee, and maybe place that right foot left leg, up here on the thigh, little tree. Move the fingers, the leaves are moving, the wind's kind of blowing the tree a little bit maybe. And when it makes sense, releasing the right leg and the arms coming back to mountain. Weighting that right foot, slight bend into the right knee, arms off into a T, bottom of the left foot, grease the right ankle, just holding here. And if it makes sense for your body, maybe that left foot comes up to the thigh. Just noticing the breathing, softening those parts that can be softened. Even in the midst of a windstorm. And dropping that left leg, left foot to the floor, arms to the side, returning to mountain. Noticing sensations of the body now. Perhaps attending to the breath. On that exhale, and softening those areas that can be soft. And breath, arms up to the sky, fingers, and maybe reaching for an apple or two, or climbing that ladder, just kind of move it back and forth. And maybe coming up on our toes. Not going back and forth so much, just arms up in the air. And the heels greet the floor, arms come back to your side, maybe over a couple breath cycles. Slowly moving our arms through space. And returning to mountain. Bending our legs, we're going to do a little chair. Keep your hands on your thighs if you like. And or arms come up towards the sky. Just noticing all the sensations. Releasing when it makes sense for you. Come back to mountain. And one more chair. So bending the knees, maybe hands on the thighs. If it makes sense for your body. Perhaps arms towards the sky. Now let's bring our hands down towards the floor. Head follows the floor. And hanging, pulling forward, a ragdoll. Maybe on an in breath, we straighten the legs, back straightens out, maybe hands on our shins. Just pausing here for a breath cycle. And on an exhale, back folding forward, ragdoll. Makes sense for your body. We just bring our buttocks towards our feet, kneeling, or moving into tabletop. And then tabletop. Moving with cat and cow. And when you're ready, perhaps hips comes towards the floor, towards your ankles, or when the hips remain where they are, and arms reach out, perhaps forehead on the floor. And on your next in breath, coming back to tabletop. And just pausing for a breath cycle. And left hand underneath the head, right elbow, perhaps fingers towards the sky. And then on your next exhale, threading the needle under. And maybe on an inhale, coming back to tabletop. Right hand underneath the head, left elbow, left hand up towards the sky. And threading the needle. And returning to tabletop. And over the next few minutes, it's just your own practice, as this week's invitation is just doing what makes sense for you. It's kind of unguided. So just moving, doing movement, and what makes sense for you. So just a practice on your own. This will be about for 10 minutes. I'll give you kind of a 5-minute warning or a midway announcement. We have about 5 more minutes to go. Some words from Rachel Ramin entitled, "Everything Has a Deep Dream." I've spent many years learning how to fix life. I've spent many years learning how to fix life, only to discover at the end of the day that life is not broken. There's a hidden seed of greater wholeness in everyone and everything. We serve life best when we water it and befriend it, when we listen before we act. In befriending life, we do not make things happen according to our own design. We uncover something that is already happening in us and around us and create conditions that enable it. Everything is moving towards its place of wholeness, always struggling against odds. Everything has a deep dream of itself and its fulfillment. And now maybe a sitting meditation or a lying down meditation, standing meditation, whatever makes sense for your body now. And now for a loving kindness meditation. I will offer some lines and perhaps you can just repeat them in your own head. Maybe 4 sentences, and we'll send them 2 times. We'll begin by sending them to someone who loves us. So bringing to mind someone who has loved us, who loves us, who is currently living or is past, bringing their image to your mind. And we're sending loving kindness by repeating, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. So again, just repeating in your own mind, picturing this person that has loved you and offering them, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. And perhaps with an exhale, this image fades away. And bringing to mind now someone who is a friend, someone you've connected with and you appreciate, bringing that person's image to mind and sending loving kindness by offering these words that may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you live with peace and ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. And with an exhale, perhaps their image fades away. And now, inviting the image of someone who is fairly neutral in your life, maybe a neighbor, somebody at work, perhaps someone that you just haven't had a lot of contact with. So bring this person to mind in their image. And offer, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with peace and ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. And their image fades away. And now bringing someone to mind who is difficult, create some activation. Maybe you're reactive with this person. It feels like a struggle, and bringing this person's image to mind. And offering, may you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. And with an exhale, perhaps this person fades away, their image. And now bringing to mind a community. Maybe an image of your neighborhood or an image of the area in which you live, an image of the world. Just bringing to mind what makes sense to you in the form of community. And offering this image, may we all be safe. May we all be happy. May we all be healthy. And may we all live with peace and ease. May we all be safe. May we be happy. May we be healthy. And may we live with peace and ease. And with an exhale, perhaps this image fades away. And now bringing an image of yourself. That child self or adult self or parent self, bringing this image to mind. Reading yourself and offering. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. And may I live with peace and ease. The image in your mind again of yourself and offering. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with peace and ease. With an exhale, the image of yourself fades away. Now bringing to mind our community here, the participants now and here, maybe not here, couldn't join us today, but bringing to mind our fellow travelers, and offering ourselves, this community, these words. May we be safe. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we live with peace and ease. Bringing to mind again our community here, or if not the image, just the energy present now, and offering to one another. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with peace and ease. Good to be with you all. We will gather again next Wednesday.